We had an acquaintance from a long time back who was a dental technician, and he agreed to give me a job as an apprentice dental technician. And there were two of us Jewish boys. He was Gentile, and two of us Jewish boys were hired to learn the trade. And one of the other boy was the oldest son from the family I mentioned that they have escaped to Romania, and they stayed alive. And later he went to Israel and he became a bank manager, and I came to Canada. So I worked with at his laboratory from the fall of 1945 till early 1946. But I have felt that well, it was known that communism is coming into Romania, and people are not going to be free again. So I suggested to my brother to, by May of 1946, I suggested to my brother we should leave. So he had difficulties with this because our sister was not married, and she said, I would like to see her getting married first and settling down, and I will wait around. However, then he decided that, well, I will go with you.
Was there talk of her coming with you?
There was no talk that she wanted to go with us. And we started, well, I was the first one who was heading towards the border, and we had a rendezvous point where we were going to meet up.
Now, did you have an ultimate destination of where you were going?
We were going to go back to Germany, and in mind that we were going to go to America, where we had a lot of family. Then I went first to the meeting place, and somebody was supposed to come and take us across the border into Hungary. I'm waiting and waiting for a long time, and my brother and my cousin, he was coming with my cousin, they didn't show up at the agreed time. Finally, they did show up, and they said that they met up with the border police, who took away everything from them, and then they let them go. So they robbed them. Then we all decided to go back to Vale lui Mihai, and I went back with in mind that I will start at a later date. So about 5 days passed by. I said to my brother and my cousin, I says, well, I'm going. How about you fellows? So my brother says, no, I'm going to stay till our sister will get married, and then I will leave. My cousin, he fell in love with a girl who he didn't want to leave. I said, well, if you're not going, I'm going anyway. So I left with another friend. And we went the same way through the border, and we arrived to Debrecen, which is the next large city. From there we took a train and we went back to Budapest. In Budapest we found out that there are Jewish organizations that will take us to Germany, eventually to go to Israel or Palestine in those days. So within 3 days we were in Austria, and in Austria we went to a camp where I have met some people from my town, and this friend happened to have been the the director of the food storage, food magazine. And he says, well, it's very nice to see you, and I'm happy that you are here, and anything you want to have in food, just see me. And he had everything in the magazine. You know, it's not what you know, but whom you know. And I stayed there for about 2 or 3 days, which was at the river just across from Germany. From there, we wanted to go to Germany, and I was told that if I go to I forgot the name of the city. If I go to a certain other city, there are people who can take you across to Germany by train. And so I went there. Again, I met people who were helping displaced persons, and they had a hospital which was functioning as a camp, and they gave me a bed to sleep in. And I was there about 2 days. The first day there was a castle up on the hill, and I said to a friend of mine, why don't we go up to the castle and see what is happening there? I said, I've never seen a castle before. And so we went up and we looked inside, and we saw a lot of paintings and artwork on the walls. So there was an open window. We crawled inside, and I decided to help myself to 2 of those paintings. And I took it out from the frame, I rolled it up, and I took it back to my room. The next day, the guy who helped us go back to Germany on the train, he showed up. He said, well, the train is coming in 2 hours' time, and get ready, we are going. And of course, I don't know how valuable the painting was, but I forgot it under my mattress. And of course, this person who helped me to go to Germany, he didn't really help me. That was his business. The entire possession, valuable possession I had, was a $10 bill, American $10 bill, sewn into my pants. And he says, well, how much money you got? I said, the most I can give you is $10. So I gave it to him. So he took me across to Germany. And we ended up in another camp, which was directly across the first camp where my friend gave me the food, but on the other side of the river. So I went maybe 200-300 kilometers to get about a quarter kilometer away. And by name, the name of the city where I took the painting was Salzburg in Austria. So we went back to Germany. We stayed at a camp called Pocking, and from there we were transferred to another camp called Aglasterhausen, which was near Stuttgart. And from this, in Aglasterhausen, news came that there will be 1,000 children allowed to immigrate to Canada, but they have to be under 18 years old. And it so happened, by sheer luck, when I arrived to Aglasterhausen, they asked me how old I am. But somebody told me that if I'm going to tell them that I'm 16, then I'm going to get a chocolate bar. So they wrote down, I'm 16 years old.
How old were you at the time?
I was 18. And so I got my chocolate bar. And from this point on, I was 16 and going up. And it so happens when the news came out that 1,000 children will be allowed into Canada, it will. So I was under 18 officially. So the chocolate bar and the immigration worked out just right. And this camp where we stayed, we were a lot of girls and boys. We were all friends, and it was already a civilized place to live in. They had a police department from our own boys to police us, and families were together. And we stayed there until early November 1947. And while there was one other camp where we stayed between Poking and Aglasterhausen, was a camp called Mitrahing, where I became a businessman there. I would go to the farmers and buy onions and apple, put it on a train, travel to Nuremberg, to another camp. I would sell it there. Then I would go to a small town from there, buy garlic, bring it back to Mitrahing, and I was trading. And I had a partner in the trading who now lives in Argentina. Then in November 1947, we were taken to Bremen in Germany, took an American boat called General M.B. Stewart, and arrived to Canada on November the 15th, 1947.
Where in Canada did you arrive?
We arrived at Halifax by train to Montreal, and from Montreal by train to Toronto. And we got here approximately November the 17th.
Did you have any idea of where you were going to stay once you got to Toronto?
Oh, well, I knew, I heard a lot about Canada and the United States, so I knew my geography. And in Toronto, I was placed with a Jewish family, and I was like one of the family. However, at the beginning, that the family's name was Schrott, S-H-R-O-T-T, and Mrs. Schrott used to introduce me to her friends and said, "This is Tibor, my refugee boy."
How did you feel about that?
Well, I guess I was that.
What was the treatment generally of the Jewish community in Canada to people coming over from Europe who had survived?
Oh, it was very, very warm. And so the first job in Toronto, I got a job as a dental technician. And I earned $12 a week. However, it is my father's cousin who lived in Montreal. He later told me that they didn't pay me anything to hire me. He gave $12.
He was paying.
He gave $12 a week to them to give it to me.
What kind of firm were you working at?
Dental firm. Used to be called Posen and Fury. And I stayed with them for about a month. Then I decided, I heard that my friends are in the fur trade, and they are making $20 and $25 a week. So I quit being a dental technician. I became a furrier at $15 a week. And I worked my way up all the way to about $50, the highest the highest amount I ever received as a worker. Then in 1952, I decided to go into my own business with a partner. We started to make small things out of fur waste. We had a shop approximately 10 by 12 feet, 2 machines. We had our stockroom was a cupboard, a closed cupboard, and we started from there. We were working very hard, 12, 14 hours a day, and we took out $25 a week wages, and we started to expand, move and get bigger.
Are you still in the fur business?
No, I'm not. From the fur pieces, fur articles, I went into manufacturing fur slippers. And the fur then later somebody told me that there's a good market in Canada to buy pig leather from China. So somebody suggested I should go to China and buy pig leather. I went to China, and I knew nothing about pig leather, but I bought pig leather. It turned out that the market needs something different than what I bought. However, I was able to sell it without taking much of a loss on it. But while I was in China, I have seen shoes. They were showing all kinds of shoes, and I knew nothing about shoes either. So I told them to send me samples, maybe 30 samples. They sent me the samples. I hired a young man to go out and take orders for shoes, and I will import it from China. Then he went out and he brought back $30,000 business in 1 week. And that was a tremendous large number for 1 week. And I went back to China within 2 months and bought shoes. And as a result, I got started in the shoe business, and today I'm still in the shoe business.
I have a question regarding your relationship with God. You told me when you were young, you were brought up in a very religious household.
Mm-hmm.
Although they had gradually become more assimilated as the generations continued. How would you describe your orthodoxy or your Jewishness now?
Well, I'm definitely believe in being Jewish. I support Jewish causes. I'm not religious. I go to the synagogue in the high holidays. And I say, I was born Jewish, I'm going to die Jewish. And I wanted my children to get married to Jewish boys. And 2 of them are married, they did. And but I am 100% Jewish because I have the feel for it, and I was I was supported by Jewish people to come to Canada, and I feel whatever they did for me, I have reciprocated probably 500 times.
I have one last question. Did you talk to your daughters about your experiences? Did you discuss it with them?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Do you think it affected the way they grew up as Jews?
Oh, it may have helped. It may have helped, but only they know for sure how they feel in association with my past. And So I have 3 daughters, 6 grandsons, and they know about the Holocaust, and they heard lots of stories from me. And I'm sure that whatever I said here today is only a little part of the story.
On that note, shall we stop?
Okay, next to me is my wife Paulette. Behind me, my children and my son-in-laws, Marilyn, Elaine and Caroline, Sam and Mitch, and my grandchildren, David, Daniel, Lee, Stacy, Jesse, and Noah. And this makes up my immediate family.
Ever since we could remember, my sisters and I, we've always been raised with the understanding of what my father went through in the Holocaust. He has always told us about the events that took place and what he went through as a child. We understood how my father felt the trials and the tribulations of escaping from the war, of making it through, of losing his family, and how it affected him. And he has always raised us with the understanding that we can go on for bigger and better things. We have tried to do this. We have always been aware of it, and we have tried to teach our children exactly what my father and his family have gone through. My father is a very positive person. He's outspoken in the community, and he has always tried to help his fellow Jewish friend, family. He is the most unprejudiced person that we know. He's a loving, caring person, but he's a very positive person, and he will always be a positive person. Occasionally, he would try and lighten the situation a little bit as he would talk about the Holocaust when we would discuss our children going to overnight camp, or when we went to overnight camp. He would always mention that he went to camp too, but in a different way, and it wasn't as nice as the camps that we went to. In that sense, he tried to lighten what he went through. However, we have always understood what my father went through, and we try as a family to stay together and to be very close because of how my father lost his family. And we just are a very, very close family, and this is how we will always raise our children, with the understanding of how their grandfather went through the Holocaust, and how he was always been a very positive person, and to look on to brighter things.
Okay, we are looking at a picture taken in 1927 from right to left. My father, Solomon Schwartz, my oldest brother, Ernu. In the background, my uncle, Zoltan, and my mother, Malvina, and my brother, Miklos. And the little girl at the front is my sister, Anna. And next to my grandmother and my uncle Bela. Next to my the small boy, my uncle Ernu, and 2 of my aunts and an uncle. And next to my grandmother, the old man, is my grandfather. And the very on the left side is my uncle Eugene and his wife, who immigrated to Israel, and they died in Israel. This picture was taken approximately 1930 from right to left. My brother Erne, in the background my father and myself, and my mother, and my sister Anna, and my brother Miklos. Out of the six, 3 of us are living today. This picture was taken approximately in 1933. In the back row from right to left, my uncle Bela, my father. Next to my father is my mother's cousin who lived in New York. Then my uncle, my mother's brother, and then on the top left, my uncle Lajos, who passed away after the Holocaust. He went back to Romania. He passed away at age 85. Then on the bottom, his 2 daughters, his wife Rosie, my grandmother, and my mother, and next to it my sister Anna. Then actually my sister is on the bottom left, and my brother Erne and myself, and a cousin whom I don't identify, and my brother Miklos. The picture was taken in Germany, 1946, after the war, with a friend whose name I don't remember, myself, and my brother. My brother is to the left.
And which one's you?
I'm in the middle. The picture was taken in November 1947 on board of General M.B. Stewart, the ship which carried us to Canada. From right to left is Edith, next to her Rose, myself in the background, and Barbara. All 4 of us are living today, 3 in Toronto, 1 in Montreal. These are friends. Approximately in 1950, we were chumming front of the photography studio, and we decided to go and have our picture taken. And I'm in the middle, and from right to left, I don't remember all the names, but in the right middle is Mike. Right bottom is Sam and Louis. Next to him is Louis. Then middle left is Karchi. He is deceased. And 2 other friends whose names I forgot. I went back to Valea lui Mihai for a visit in 1968, where my uncle Lajos lived there, and we went for a walk in town where we visited the old synagogue. It was all barricaded up. We managed to get inside, and all the books and everything was looked like it was vandalized. It was not orderly. As you can see, the front yard that used to be nicely kept, now it is all weeds. and the outside of the synagogue has deteriorated very badly, and there was nobody to take care of it.